Nangula Uuandja, we're delighted to sit down with you and hear from you why it is that you decided to become a chartered accountant. And not only a chartered accountant, an auditor as well. Tell us, why did you pursue this career path?
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. It's actually interesting, and sometimes people don't believe me when I tell them why I chose to become an accountant. So throughout my secondary school study and primary school and so on, I have always thought I will become a doctor or an engineer or architect. So I did all science subjects until I came back home from exile in 1992. My father is a business person, and I found that his business has this huge tax liability that he needed to pay, and he didn't know where to start. And we all knew that the business was not doing as well as it used to, but he has to pay tax from money that we didn't even have. So then I decided, I think I need to help my father, because I'm the one in the family that understands figures and math. So instead of becoming a doctor, I should pursue a qualification that will help my father in that regard. And first I thought that qualification was economics, so I registered for Bachelor of Economics at university. Later I met this lady, they say she's a chartered accountant, and I thought, let me find out what is this chartered accountant. So I actually found out, no, for me to help my father with his tax challenges, I need to study accounting and become a chartered accountant. So that's where it all started. So I changed my qualification the next year from economics to accounting, and yes, I've not looked back since then.
Very beautiful. So inspired to help another, and that being your father, and it's resulted in you pursuing this career.
Yes.
And would you say that this was the right choice for your life?
It's definitely one of the best choices I've ever made.
Okay, beautiful. And you mentioned that you'd met a woman who spoke to you about becoming a chartered accountant. Did she inspire you into this profession?
Yeah, so that is the one part of it. So it was Lynette Rottenbach. She was later, she worked at PwC, and she was an associate director. So it's not even speaking to her, it's just somebody that I admired very well, so very much. So when I understood she's a chartered accountant, I researched more into it, and yes, she became my first accounting lecturer. And I think because it's somebody that I just liked as a person, and I got to learn the subject very well, and I thought, the way she is, the way she helped explain things, and how she was proud about her profession, I think this is definitely the right profession. So yes, over the years, there's many people that I've admired in the profession and that I've looked up to, like David Furi, who was our managing partner here, Albin Potter was also managing partner here, Louis van der Rit, one of my mentor, and I believe almost the best auditor in Namibia. These are people that I looked up to, the people that I've learned from, and yes, it's actually a pleasure to be in this profession.
Beautiful. You mentioned that you had first started with more social studies and etc., and especially in school, because it was not your plan to go and become a chartered accountant. Mm. In terms of your studies, when you started in tertiary education, did you needed to have science and maths to make that bridge over to chartered accountancy?
What I normally tell students right now, and the advice I give my children, is if you can do math, I would recommend that at least every Namibian child does mathematics up to grade 12, and especially those ones that have got a talent, because we know that there is talent and gifts that only God can give us, we cannot learn. So if God has given you the talent of math and science, I would recommend that you take math and science at school level. And the reason is because I did math and science, and I was able to be admitted to Bachelor of Economics because of the background of math and science. So although science itself was not required for my qualification as a chartered accountant, math was required. And though I have never heard about accounting in high school, I was still able to kind of enter that profession because of my math background. So I would recommend to every child, and actually tell parents, encourage your children to do math and science at school, because it just gives them a wider range of opportunities at university level. And yes, sometimes as children we change our mind. I might think that I want to become a journalist, or I want to become an artist, or I want to become a scientist when I'm in grade 12, but the moment I go to university I found out, oh, maybe not that one. Maybe I must become a politician. Maybe I must become. But science and math is one thing that will allow you to change your mind at any time, and you will most likely be accepted to any qualification. So I do encourage parents to encourage their children to take that field of study.
Beautiful. That's some really good advice. Nangula, what was it like when you were studying to be an accountant?
I believe that I was doing what I love and what I enjoy. And when you're doing what you love and you enjoy, then the days are not so long, and the university life is not so boring. So as I focused on my study, I had a bit of social life here and there, but to me, my studies were also part of social life. So I will enjoy my studies and writing my tests.
What was your favorite subjects in university?
Wow, that is actually very interesting. I'm not so sure I know which one was. I'm sure maybe that would have been accounting. Taxation is a good subject, but I think one profession I will not make is law. So taxation, because of the legal aspect, was a little bit challenging to me, because then you've got to cases and look at who decided what. So that was a bit of a challenge. Yes, auditing is another subject I had. It was also a bit of a challenge to do auditing, because it was a lot of reading. So too much reading for my liking. There was something called management accounting, which I enjoy. It's not my favorite. So I think I'll have to say something like financial management was actually my favorite subject, because yes, it's figures, and it's something that speaks maybe to where my math background is. So I think that is a subject that I enjoy.
Okay, lovely. And for the difficult subjects, the ones that weren't your favorite, how did you motivate yourself to get through the difficult ones?
There's something that I used to tell myself, and sometimes I tell my children, I say, what man has done, man can do. So if something can be done, and things that I call means to an end. So many times I focus on the end. Where is the goal? Where am I headed? What do I want to achieve? If in achieving that I need to go through a little bit of challenges and things that I do not necessarily like and so on, do I see the end? So keeping my eye focused on the end, focused on the outcome that I want to, always helps me face the challenges and deal with the challenges that come with the subjects that maybe I'm not very good at and that I'll enjoy. If it's a means to an end, then I'll have to accept it and learn to love it, so that it's not, although I don't like this specific issue, I like the end, and therefore I have to motivate myself.
What do you love about the profession of being a chartered accountant?
Accounting today is 100% contrary to why I chose the profession. So, yes, I chose the profession to help my father, but there was always one item, which is a profession I take must be like this. So one of the items that was part of the consideration is I must stay away from people as much as possible. So I want a profession that can put me in my room, deal with my papers, do my calculation, come out with a report of figures and say, here is your report. So I like accounting because I thought, chartered accountant, it's like you charter a plane, right? You want to use it, you charter me. I'm an accountant, you charter me, I do work for you, I give you your report, I'm gone. That's what I thought. Until I started working. So when I worked first, because I'm not, by nature, I'm not a people's person, so that is when I was told I need to improve it. Nangula, you did very well, technically you're excellent, you did whatever, but the way you're handling client and staff at client, they're not very comfortable. You need to look at a few things. I said, I thought I'm supposed to deal with figures. The people must just give me what I need so that I can do my business, but apparently not. So that was the first development area. So now I developed it, and I was kind of forced, and I was forced, it's a means to an end story. So I said, okay, I want to become a chartered accountant. Apparently part of this is actually liking people. Okay. And then part of the story also then, yes, through the process I became a very committed Christian, and I've got a close relationship with Jesus, and I read the Bible, and again it comes. You must love people. I said, okay, there's no way out of this. Accounting says I must tolerate them. The Bible says I must love them. There's no way out, I need to love people and so on. So I started working on that angle of my life, reading books, having mentoring and reading my Bible. And through all that, then I started to learn, it's not a bad idea to like people. It's actually good to love people. It's actually good to relate to people. So I started growing in that area, and today it's the most part of my job that I enjoy.
It's wonderful to hear stories of a situation where it was something that was a challenge for you, but you've overcome it and learned to love it, and it's better for it.
Yes.
As is always the case with challenges.
Yes.
What would you say is the most important value of this profession?
The most important value, and like the part that many times people ask me, why did you choose to stay in this profession for this long? Many times people come, and of course they have to for them to become chartered accountants, they have to work at an auditing firm. So for some people, yes, this is definitely a means to an end. A means to an end, I need to become a chartered accountant. The only way I can do it is work in an auditing firm, serve various clients. So they come, and then after they finish the article, they go out and become finance managers and so on. So the question is, why would somebody like me stay in this profession for 20 years? This year I've been 20 years at PwC as an accountant. And I said the one part I enjoy is the training and development of the people. So I indicated, so we choose our bursary student, like in grade 11 or grade 12 already. We choose students from various schools and we give them bursaries, send them to university, whether it is Namibia or South Africa. And then after that one, they come and we need to train them into chartered accountants. Tomorrow I'm having, for example, induction for my managers, which I said most part of that induction I want to present it myself because I want for people to understand you're not here to become just a chartered accountant. You are here to become a professional and you are here to become a leader. And we want to make sure that by the time you leave this profession, you're not just an accountant, just like I wanted to become an accountant. I became an accountant, but I believe I became more than an accountant. I became a leader in my area, a leader in my field, and it's because of the opportunities that I got. So I want to make sure that other people that enter this qualification and they have my perception of saying, I want to become an accountant and move on, I want them to get a different view of saying, this is something different. I actually tell my children, if it's up to me, every one of them will go through articles, become a chartered accountant, and then they can do whatever qualification they want to do after that. And it's because somebody recently said something, I agree with that. Almost all grade 12 kids, when they leave secondary school, they should actually go to the military. You know, like they used to have this military training, which is for students. I think the profession to some extent, I take it, it's like the military training because the discipline that we enforce on the staff. You have to be disciplined, you learn professional skills, technical skills, and so the learning is actually good. And to me, being part of a team that is imparting that knowledge and developing and training leaders that will make an impact not only in PwC, not only in this profession, but they can go out and be at the banks, be insurance companies, in government, be mining companies.
Really beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely agree with you there.
Thank you.
What would you say are the highs of this profession, the best moments?
Yes, I think the best moment is, for example, we have got the students that write what we call the training examination. So they have got the examination of qualifying. So when you finish your CTA, there's two examinations that you need to write. One is they call the initial test of competence, ITC, and then the second one is the APC. But you must find us the day. So the result come out on the last Friday in February and the last Friday in March, respectively. You must just find us the day that results come out. Because it's like the students that are here, that are wrote, like this year we had about 18 students from PwC that were writing. They feel like they are your friends, they are your children, they are your nieces, you feel that close to them and they are past. I know they are proud, their parents are proud, but sometimes I think I'm more proud of these children than their parents. So you love it, and when you go there and you see, like last year and this year, of the ITC, they give out the top 10 people, 4 of them are for PwC. That day, you feel like we have achieved something. So yes, there is the work of the clients where you meet the deadline, where you help the client. That is every day and you come here. But the results when they come out and our students have passed and we have produced another 40 accountants that we have given to the economy and so on, it's just an excitement throughout the profession. So you must join us one day at one of those sessions and you will see accountants really, really excited.
Oh, I'd love to. I would love to come and see. That's wonderful.
Yes.
You mentioned that it is something that you would encourage people to pursue a career,
Yes.
a chartered accounting career, and as you explained earlier, the discipline that you learn in this field, it establishes you as a professional.
Yes.
But what would your advice be right now to encourage somebody to pursue this career field?
I believe that the wholeness of that person is very, very important. Chartered accountants also become business people and so on. And they don't only work in business, they go in various fields. So as you start as a chartered accountant, it gave me an understanding of most across industries. So I don't work with one client, I work with many clients. I work with a bank, I work with an insurance company, I work with a mining company. So over the years, I've worked with many clients, and that has given me, because I'm forced to understand my client's business and their industry. So while somebody who only works at the bank knows about the banking sector, somebody in mining knows about them, I know maybe not everything, but a little bit of everything. So if I choose today, I end up in a mining, or I end up in a bank or insurance entity and so on, I have got a base knowledge where to start with an adult. So that is something which in this profession, I think I would encourage people to do. So that is the professional side. The personal side of it, because we also look at the professional component of the people, is meeting deadlines, dealing with pressure, looking at your self-development, whether it is learning to accept negative criticism. So because when you start, for example, when I started 20 years ago, when you're an article clerk, people want tea and you are all working, somebody wants coffee, it's just the right thing because you are the least expensive person on the team. Wash the cups and give everybody tea on the team. So it's get out of the mentality of when you need a tea lady, you are the tea lady at the time. And that teaches you the humility of serving. So instead of just looking at the technical, you said, and I love that portion of coming in the profession. So we all work from really startup to a level where you are now an executive and so on, and you just didn't go about it the easy way. You went through you went through it step by step to get there, and therefore you kind of do not miss a lot. So you don't jump from here to here, you go step by step, and there's something to be learned at every step. So from the point where you were taking orders from everybody to a point where you are encouraging and mentoring somebody else, where to a point where you might be giving orders to yourself, but you're also getting a lot of orders from your client. So you learn humility, you learn to persevere, you learn to work hard, you learn to manage stress. So there is a technical and whatever, and I believe that helps the person to learn and grow and develop as a whole professional, not only focus on one area in their life.
And it's helpful to get those professional skills in life. It's something that will be valuable to any person for their entire life.
Yes, it is.
And talking about things that are valuable to you for your entire life, what was the best piece of business advice that you ever received?
I think I've got two advice that I got, and they all kind of end up related to people in one way. The one, I read a book called Good to Great by Tim Collins, if I'm not mistaken. And in that book, he's talking about the level 5 or so leader. So many times, and maybe I combine that with another book written by Patrick Rion-Silly. It's called The Advantage. But if you look at their books, it's a book on focusing again, not only the technical aspect of leadership, but the soft aspect of leadership. So Good to Great comes and gives you a principle of saying, look, you are starting an organization. For example, you are running an organization. The first and foremost thing is get the right people on the bus before you decide direction. Many times what we do as business people, we take the bus, start, and then you pick up people. And then you wonder, the people actually are not interested in going on the same direction. So the other one now, with the Patrick one, is the one that says many times, as business people, we focus on the technical aspect of running a business. Do you have the good marketing? Do you have good IT? Do you have good finance? And he said those are important, but they're only 50% of the equation. The other 50% is you must have a healthy organization, which has got minimal politics, which has got minimal confusion, and where is cohesion in the team. For a team to succeed, you need that cohesion. And therefore, you can be as talented as you want to be. Get all the intelligent people on the team. If there is no chemistry and there is no cohesion, and you are not looking after the 50% of the equation, that organization will not achieve its objectives.
There's also one other thing that I wanted to ask about your advice.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned the advice that you shared for people starting out in the profession and doing their articles and etc.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for somebody who's already established in their career as a chartered accountant?
Okay, for somebody who's established, it depends at which level you are. So if you are at a level where you have just qualified as a chartered accountant, and you are, for example, in the audit profession, I would recommend to you, hang in there for still a bit of time because there's still a lot of learning. I know, when you come from university, it's like when you come from university and you start working, you think that you're the most intelligent person that has ever walked the planet, and there's nothing to learn until they give you, in our accounting profession, we call it a bank reconciliation and trial balance. You have balanced it for 4 years at university, all of a sudden it doesn't balance anymore. Then you realize, okay, I'm starting over. And then you finish your articles and you think you are the best thing that has ever happened, and now you need to manage, and you learn, I have not learned anything. And then the next level, I became a partner and I thought, oh, what is new? So at every stage, there is something new to learn. So yes, maybe they will not all become partners, but at least don't just feel that because you have attained the CA qualification and the technical component of it, you have achieved what you need to achieve. There's a lot of learning about that, which I would recommend that you attend to. If you are an established CA, is yes, what difference are you making with your qualification? Yes, you might be a consultant there, or an auditor there, or a tax specialist there, and you're making money, but beyond that, I don't think this is a qualification where we just need to get money and pay me. It's also a profession where we need to add back, to give back. You were trained. People invested a lot in you. Are you investing back? What are you giving to the country as a chartered accountant? That's what you need to ask yourself. Where are you contributing? Because this country needs a lot of CAs. They cannot be employed in every organization. They are needed in churches. They are needed in schools. Which school are you serving? On the school board or as an advisor? Which church are you serving? On the church board or as an advisor? Which children are you helping? Mentoring at university or mentoring at school level? There is so much that can be done. Just 1 hour every week, if that is what you have. But add to somebody's life other than your life and the lives of your children. Because it's a great profession, it's a great qualification, it's an honor and a privilege to have that qualification, and we must make sure that with all this benefit comes responsibility. And you must make sure that you are carrying your part of the responsibility.
Absolutely, it's a very good point there. Nangula, what would you say you have learned about life through this profession?
There's a lot to learn in this profession, yes. So there's a lot to learn from managing a business, from relating to people, from giving people the benefit of the doubt, from dealing with non-performance. So there is really, really a lot to learn about life, whether it is in the social aspect, whether it is in the financial aspect, whether it is meeting clients, dealing with different personalities of clients, different personalities of staff. There is just almost wherever way you look at it, there is something to learn as to how do you deal with people, how do you deal with clients, how do you deal with projects, how do we deal with meeting deadlines, how do you manage the time? If we have got so much to do, I've got a family, I've got a husband, I've got children, so all of us have got a lot of these responsibilities. So whether it is children, husband, work, colleagues, church, school, and so on, there's so much to do. And for that one, you kind of need a different type of learning, and I think balancing that life of aspect that I have, it's one thing that I have learned, and the importance of that balance, and yes, the importance of making sure that everybody gets a little bit of a fair share of their portion of their time. You will not always balance it correctly, but I think there's so much to balance that you don't have a choice but to learn to make deliberate decision of how do I balance that whole component.
And I'm sure with the process and the learning that you've been through, and as you've just explained to us, the process to get to where you are today, the learning would have helped you to be able to balance the discipline, the process.
Yes,
I'm sure it is.
No, definitely that is one of the benefits that one has learned up to today.
Absolutely, I can imagine.
Yes.
Nangula, it's been so inspiring hearing from you about this profession of chartered accountancy. What would your message be as we close up to people that are considering pursuing this career?
Okay. No, thank you. It's an opportunity to share. It's like I said, it doesn't matter what your personality is, because many times people label accountant. My son came to me the other day and he told me, "Mommy, you said you want us to do chartered accountant here." Whenever I tell people I want to become an accountant, they look at me like, "Really?" Because I said, why? Because apparently accountants are supposed to be boring and wearing glasses. I said, am I boring? Okay, fine. You don't need to answer that. That's what I told him. But the one thing is, sometimes people have got this thingy of saying an accountant this and putting. I think to accounting there's much more than figures and wearing glasses and looking like a nerd or whatever. So it doesn't matter what your personality is. There's actually people that enter this profession who are like marketing people related. One of the employees that left PwC recently, she went, for example, to work at Standard Bank as a business development manager or business development consultant, where she's going to get clients, speak to clients, discuss their portfolio with them. It's not an accountant. but she needed this qualification for her to be able to do it. Somebody like the managing director of Alan Gray, who is a CA, he went to get his CFA qualification, he became an analyst, and now he's heading an asset management company, and so on. So there is so much that you get later. Do not, when you hear accountant, don't say, nerd, glosses, whatever. I think that's what people need to do, to stop stereotyping accountants and thinking that accountant is auditing. Because as some people find auditing challenging, I don't want to do an audit and whatever, and they say, okay, accountant is auditing, I will not become a chartered accountant. There is more to it. Speak to accountants that are in various fields of life, and you will find out that accounting is, the profession is much more than accounting. It's much more than auditing. I was looking at the other day on something that I think was on a Twitter from the World Economic Forum, if I'm not mistaken, and that gives a lot of qualification. They said the major skills that are needed, for example, in business and so on. They say, okay, what skills are needed for leadership? So it's skills for leadership, and then they put the profession and they tick out which profession engineer, business, where accounting is put, and so on, and whether you meet this one. The accountant was the only profession, the business part, actually business, which, like I said, accounting is part of the business. It was the only profession where you can acquire all those skills, or where that skills is kind of neutral, where it's like, yes, it's neutral, it doesn't put it up or down, but this one puts it up. All the other qualification, whether it is engineering or whatever, they were put there and say, if you want this one, sorry, as an engineer you cannot get it. Of course, that is nothing against engineers or whatever. It's just to say, to become, for example, a great leader, most of the skills that are needed for great leaders that you are taught through the process of your training, if you are in business and accounting, you can tick off almost all of those skills. Whereas when you are in other profession, you will not be able to tick them. You will need additional exposure somewhere else for you to be able to tick off those skills. And that's what I would tell, that it is more than just accounting the way we have known it. It's actually a whole profession of business consultant and a business expert and so on. And after you finish, you have got so many options as to where you will finally end in your career. So that is the advice.
To get you
yes,
to wherever you want to
exactly.
be.
It's a platform for you to grow in the career and end up somewhere. And like I said, you can choose completely. You can actually become a scientist after that. But it's a good platform and a good foundation for you to go wherever you want to go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming to share with us. We really appreciated your wisdom when it comes to the field of becoming a chartered accountant.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And all the best to all the aspiring chartered accountants out there, whether they are at secondary or primary school or at university level or already in the profession, or maybe they are working somewhere and they want to change the profession. You never know.
Absolutely. And still schoolgoers as well that are considering for their future.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nangula.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's a wrap.